Roop with richardroop.com, and this is our Tuesday open Q&A call. And I've invited a number of people.
On Wednesday.
What? It's Tuesday.
Oh, it is? I'm sorry.
You're messing me up there, Dutch.
I'm just a day late. Sure.
Okay. So the purpose of this call is you can be a fly on the wall. You can listen to the replay, or you can join in and participate. And so you can ask anything related to your real estate investing business. That would be, for marketing, finding deals, negotiating, dealing with sellers, deal structuring, determining if it's a deal or not, determining your exit, raising the funds, funding the deals, inner game, leveraging yourself, anything that would assist you on achieving your goals. It's like, what do you need to improve? Okay. So let me go ahead and make Damien. Hey, Damien, let me make you a co-host. All right, I just muted everybody. So you can, Damien, you can unmute yourself and say hello. How you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so yeah, if you can monitor, I am streaming on Facebook. It's really answering the questions for people here, but if there's any questions that come up in Facebook, I'll be happy to cover it if we have time. We go for about an hour and 15, just if we go that long. We just cover everybody's questions. It's open Q&A. There's really no agenda. We did do a 3-day boot camp on how to collect $28,000 in 28 days. And so we said, well, maybe the first Q&A call after that would be on marketing, and the next one might be on deal structuring or raising private money. So there really is no agenda. It's open Q&A. So anybody who wants to go first, go ahead and unmute yourself and say hello. What questions do you have for me? What can I do to help you out? How can I help you get on track and achieving your goals faster and easier?
Hi,
Hey, Judith.
Richard. I have a question. It's Judith. On the postcards, do you recommend sending them out every month or more frequently in the beginning?
It depends on your goal, and how much you're going to spend over what period of time. I think you should consistently mail postcards every month. You should be tracking your results and making adjustments along the way. If you're jump starting your marketing, you might drop more. So in the beginning, and so if you have what kind of worked on your list, Judith, right? What's just the size of your mailing list that you?
I have 1,000 to specific zip codes in my area.
Oh, okay, 1,000 records.
I'm looking at absentee, free and clear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would do at least 1,000. At least 1,000 a month. We would normally do 1,500 a month in the past. That's if you only want to buy 4 houses a year. Okay.
I'm talking about 1,000 postcards, not $1,000. I'm talking about 1,000 postcards.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm talking about 1,500 postcards. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We normally in the past we did about $700 a month, which would be, that's about 1,500 postcards. So yeah, I would do more. If you spend just on averages, Judith, if you spend $500 a month, on 1,000 postcards, if you spend $1,000 a month, let's see, that's 500 a month. So 500 a month, that will put you on track for closing a deal on average, in 4 or 5 months. I mean, it depends on the list, okay? Because if you get a really good, hard to get list, then the numbers are different. But if you're just going with absentee owners with equity in a kind of a normal farm area, are you in a hot market, Judith?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, typically what we say is spend $1,500 to $2,500 in postcards to do a deal where the average profit is like 100 grand, for the cash now, the cash flow, and the cash later. So if you're doing, if you're doing 1,500, or is he? I'm gonna get my numbers mixed up here. If you spend like 20, okay, let's use $2,100. That's $700 a month for 3 months. Okay, that's $2,100. That's normally enough to get a deal plus another deal on the follow-up. So it kind of puts you on track. $700 a month was for a goal when I'm working with joint venture partners, where our goal is to close 4 of these high profit deals during the year. That's what it was designed for. So yeah, I would mail more if you got a better budget. When do you want to close a deal, Judith? What's your goal?
Well, I'd like the 28,000 in 28 days.
Okay.
Which you
I
lured us in with.
yes. I would, in order to do that, I would spend $2,100 this month.
This month. Okay.
Yeah. And I would prefer to spend half of that and then gauge it and then spend the other half, like spend half now and then in a couple weeks spend the other half. It gives us some flexibility, but if we're under that 28-day deadline, right, then you would drop it all at once.
And I'm using the Magic Bullet postcard, the latest one that we've got the link to, because I've seen through some of the manuals, you've got other postcards that have been used over the years, but you've got the one that we're using as of late, right?
That is, you have the most, yeah, I gave you the most up to date during the boot camp, and that's what they have over at iNet USA, who does the print and mail for us. Are you using anything else besides iNet USA to mail?
No, iNet. And I'm not sure, do they do it on yellow or white?
They'll do it on yellow if you want them to
They'll
do it
do it
on
on
yellow.
yellow.
I usually just use white.
White's okay. All right.
White looks more, I think white looks more personal. Okay. But you don't have to grab their attention with the color. It costs a little bit extra to use yellow on like click to mail. In the past, it cost a little bit extra for yellow. And Sales Team Live used to do yellow. In fact, I'm wearing Sales Team Live jacket right now. They liked yellow. In fact, I think they might have, we mailed so many postcards, they might have determined that it was a little bit better response. But I'm either way, but I go with white.
You go with white. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would just do white or canary yellow, just the standard yellow. Now, some people, you could, once you're up and running, Judith, if you want to track, there's different ways you can track your lists and your postcards and your campaigns. So if you have different lists, you could use different colored cards. Other ways, you can use different phone numbers, or you can put an extension on there, even if it's not required. You can ask the person, what's the extension? Or you can ask them, what is the color of the card? And that way, that's one way to track response. So in that case, I would use like a kind of a on color, yellow, green, blue, and white. So just the pastel colors. All right, great. Thanks, Judith.
Okay. All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
who else? You're welcome. Who else has a question that I can address? All right, I get to go home.
Richard, I do. Valerie.
Hey, Valerie. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Valerie. And you guys, if you got, it makes it better if you guys want to show your video. If you don't want to show your video, that's okay.
I'm here.
Go ahead, Valerie.
I know we discussed it last time. But again, if I structured the deal in UPG and I'm pulling 50,000 for repairs, and my exit plan is to fix it, buy it, fix it, and rent to own it, but I buy and end up selling it on a wraparound. So, and sweat equity. So I pulled out those 50,000, but I'm not gonna use it. What do I do with that 50,000 again?
Well, your offers, you borrowed that extra 50, right? So that's borrowed money. In fact, when you're pulling out this cash out of the deals, it is tax free because it's borrowed money. That money was designed to go into the property and raise the value. So if you sold it on sweat equity, do you think you would require your buyer to put $50,000 worth of work in there, or how much work would you want them to do to it before you gave them ownership on a wrap? Because either you need to get the cash or you need to get the work done, right? You need enough consideration before you give them ownership.
Yes,
Okay.
this is true.
So are you thinking of finding someone who wants to fix it up right away?
Yes, sweat equity.
Okay. So what's going to happen is you're going to, instead of using your resale price that we put together, and we could pull that UPG up if you want and take a look at it. Instead of, in fact, why don't we do that? Let me.
After repairs is 550.
After repaired value is 550 with 50,000 in repairs.
But yes, and I was thinking if I do a wrap, I can probably sell it for 569 with the wrap.
Yes.
And sweat equity.
All right. And if you sold it on a wrap, meaning you wrap the underlying mortgage and you take back, you finance your buyer, what price would you be happy with? What would you sell it for, 500 as is, or 520 as is? You're in a kind of a hot market, so.
540 if I'm doing the wrap.
Okay, here's what you do. Is you advertise that it's 569. It's 569, and I might even use 567. 567 fixed up. So fixer upper, this is your ad. Fixer upper, owner can finance. 569, 5 fixed up, make offer as is, trade work for down payment. You'll get tons of calls. And now what you want to do is you don't want to negotiate with anybody that hasn't seen the house. But what would be useful is if you gave them a list of things that you would fix it up, that you would do to the house to make it the 567, right? Give them that list, and then they can decide what they want to offer you to take it as is. Now, I don't negotiate too much with people until they've actually seen the house, or until you kind of qualify them or whatever, right? Is the house vacant? Oh, yeah, she has to find a place to move.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to come up with a list of repairs, get some photos, let them know that and don't give out the address. You could actually line up your buyer before you close.
Do or do not give the address.
Not until you close and it's vacant. You don't want your buyers interacting with this particular seller. Sometimes it's okay, but the seller, no. She needs to find her next place, and then you just need to decide on a closing date. But if you think you have a deal, if you have it under contract, then yeah, you can actually start building your buyers. You can run that ad that I just gave you, and then not only will you have buyers for this deal, but you'll have buyers for your next fixer upper deal or owner financing deal.
So again,
I'm doing
with
to answer your question is if you got 10% down from a buyer, that's 50,000, right? So if you fixed it up and then got 50,000 down, right? Then you'll have an extra 50 in your pocket from the down payment. In this case, you're selling it as is. You're not spending the 50 you raised. You get to put it in your pocket. So you get to keep it. You get to spend it. You get to pay for coaching. You get to, sign up for coaching.
Do what? Sorry.
You get to sign up for coaching. Of course, you already did, but
Okay,
I'm
I
just
did.
kidding. No, you can get some more marketing
Guys
out
already
there.
signed up.
You can get some more marketing out there. We can,
Mhm.
No, you'll have some. One of the best things to do is build up cash reserves. So I would
Mhm.
take some of that money and start building your cash reserve. In fact, I'll give everybody a very good tip. Do this. 5% of every big check you get, 5% of every big check you get, put that aside in another account, a savings account that you never touch or spend or even look at. Okay, so if you get $50,000, take 5% of that, 2,500, and put that into this kind of rainy day account. Okay, and just every big check. So, well, you were gonna on that one. You were pulling out what? How much were you pulling out? 28,000 or 30,000?
30.
How much?
30.
Okay, so you're also getting the 30, right? So take
Mhm.
5%, 1,500, put that into account. Okay, whenever you get any type of lump sum payment of 3,000 or more, I just say you'll never miss the money. You'll build up that account, and that's not even your reserve account, your cash reserves account. Also, then go ahead and have a cash reserves account, and your plan should maybe to have 6 to 12 months of operating money built up in a cash reserve. You can't do that right away unless you do something like this.
Mhm.
But it's nice to have 6 to 12 months cash reserves, especially with what's the uncertainty going forward.
Mhm.
It'd be nice to have some cash reserves.
Okay. So,
Always.
okay, and one more question. Would you advertise on MLS? Would you put your property on the MLS?
It's not required, because the MLS is for people that want to buy a house with a bank loan. Those are people that are qualified. All right. You could do a flat listing on the
Mhm,
MLS, but it's never helped me sell a house. Okay. The way to sell houses is right there in your free and clear cash machine. It's module 8 or module 7 on selling. And the basic thing for getting a house sold is classified ads, signs, flyers, and a buyer's list.
mhm.
Ads, signs, flyers, and a buyer's list. And when you have an opportunity like that, a sweat equity opportunity with owner financing, you'll have no trouble finding multiple buyers. Now, what you can do, and I can give you an advanced strategy. This would be fun. We've done this, is you actually have, once it's vacant, you can advertise a 4-hour open house.
Mhm.
Okay. And what you can do is you can have a bid sale. All right. And what I do is I advertise the fixed up price, and I give out the repairs, and then I let everybody come for 4 hours.
Mhm.
Right. And then there's a bid sheet. It's like, okay, what price would you pay? How much can you put down? What's the most you can pay each month if you're building up a lot of equity? And then when do you want to close? Right. So I ask those 4 items. What price are you offering? What's the most you want to put down? What's the most you pay each month if you're paying it off rapidly? And then when would you want to close? And then based on those offers, I decide what's best. So I advertise home's going to be sold for the best reasonable offer this weekend. It's a fixer upper, owner can finance, the same ad. It's like open house will be sold this weekend for best reasonable offer. So it's not the highest reasonable offer, because someone who gives me much more money down at a lower price, I might take that, right? or someone might be more solid and qualified versus someone who's kind of icky and, you know, they might cause me some trouble, even if I took their, you know, even if they had a bunch of money. You know. So I can help you with that when you do your bid sell. On the MLS,
Yeah, when we get there.
yeah, on the MLS, the MLS is good for finding cash buyers, but everybody's chasing after cash buyers, and we don't even have to chase after that market. Okay, the cash buyers are the people that are basically, you know, a lot of times they're coming to the table, they're qualified, they're going to use a loan, they're going to buy the home, you know, that type of thing. And we're serving the 2/3 of the people who can't go to the bank and get a loan and buy anything they want.
Sounds good. Thank
But
you
you're
very
an
much,
agent.
Richard.
But you're an active agent, so yes, you can. What does it cost you to list your property on MLS?
35% of my commission.
Oh, you have to pay. See, that's the thing. If you sell it with terms, how do you pay the commission? See, and you don't really need any MLS help to sell with terms.
Yeah.
What
But
I did
also,
in the past is my sales manager was a licensed agent, and I think he did it on a flat fee, right? And so a flat fee MLS listing for sale by owner, you know, I did it in the past, but it never was the way I sold my houses.
I was thinking also talking to president of Investors Association, local one, and partner up with him. Probably he has a big list of potential, you know, owners. I mean, potential buyers.
Yeah, no, if that you're not going to have any trouble finding buyers. Networking with local investors. Yeah, anything you guys can do to talk to local investors and local investor associations, you should be doing that type of free marketing. It's called networking. It's one of the best ways to find deals and to sell deals and to raise, you know, money partners. Okay. Yeah, you should be networking with other investors. In fact, where are other investors advertising? Okay. I would call on their signs. I would call on their ads. I'd call on their direct mail. I would introduce myself and say, look, I'm an investor. I don't buy everything that, you know, all the deals that I find. Some of the deals don't work for me. It's not what I'm looking for. So I wanted to find out, what are you looking for? And ask them, find out about their business, what kind of deals they're looking for. Don't make it about you, make it about them, right? And they'll love you for that. And then they'll probably ask you, well, what kind of deals are you looking for, right? And then you can tell them, you know, you do the financing, you buy and hold long term. You know, if any properties that have lots of equity, I can make very attractive offers on them. Yeah. Of course, you can do all kinds of investing models. But a lot of people out there are fix and flip or wholesaling, and then there's a number of them you might find that are kind of buying with, you know, trying to buy terms or focusing on buying with terms. Okay, so there are people that are looking for people, you know, homeowners, sellers that have little or no equity, so they can just get the deed or do a lease option, right? And they actually focus on those owners because they think they're more motivated. Well, as you know, we sort for equity, not motivation. Okay, so the more equity they have, the more ways we can solve their problem or, you know, give them an attractive offer. So the biggest mistake I see investors make is what I've told you guys is over pre-screening on the first call, asking a seller if they would be flexible enough to do a lease option, which they don't want to do, or owner financing, which they have no reason to do. Okay. The reason why someone should do owner financing is because they want your price. That's the only reason they want to defer their taxes, or they want the income stream. But the main reason they take our ultimate strategy offers is they love the price. So don't ask them if they'll on the phone or before you present your offers if they'll do owner financing, you know, because they're typically going to say no, they don't have any reason to do it. And if you say, well, I can pay you more, they're going to ask, well, how much more, right? And it's like, and they've already discounted the idea. So don't mention that you want to buy with owner financing until you're actually showing them the price and the terms. And so that now they have a reason to do it. Okay. You're always going to make an all cash offer, which is what everybody else is trying to do, 60, 65, 70 cents on the dollar, right? You will make that normal cash offer because that's where cash offers should be. But you have the advantage of being a transaction engineer and being able to make multiple offers. All right. Any
You're
other
absolutely
questions?
right, Richard. I made that mistake asking for owner financing before making
Everybody
offers.
makes that mistake. I made that mistake. Unfortunately, there are people I highly respect that, you know, that's their main focus is they're leaving a lot of money on the table because they're over pre-screening on the phone, you know, but they have high numbers, but it means, but they're still, it's kind of churning and burning. I had this discussion with one of my coaching clients. He was asking, why don't we do that? And I explained it to him, the pros and cons, and he said, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So I love Ron LeGrand. Ron LeGrand's great, but you know, the services that he offers investors includes having a bunch of VAs call FISBOs, okay? And on what they're trying to do is to turn it into a lead, they got to get the FISBO to agree to be flexible on terms even before it becomes a lead. I think that's they're leaving too much money on the table. I don't know where the noises come from, so I just muted everybody. So if anybody wants to talk or ask a question or ask, you know, any follow-up questions to that, just go ahead and unmute yourself and chime in. Who's next?
There was a couple things mentioned in the chat, nothing on Facebook yet. Wayne made a statement, said deal structuring info would be helpful. I don't know if he's referring to just going off the UPG or wanting to do it with the paper method. And then whoever presentation is asked the question of what's your criteria for choosing a market area?
Okay, one question at a time. Okay, so hold off on the second question. First question is some deal structuring. Wayne, what do you want to know about? It's in the chat. Wayne, what do you want to know on deal structuring? Go ahead and chime in, buddy, and let me know. We can take a look at Valerie's deal we put together just recently, the one we were talking about, if that's what you're asking for.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Wayne, how are you, buddy?
Great. I was really listening to what you were saying there. Was really good stuff. And but you mentioned early that deal structuring was something you were going to possibly focus on today, and I thought, hey, that's really good. What you were just talking about though is, you know, how when you're presenting it, you know, you don't like, you know, I got to get that in my brain. Don't immediately go for the owner finance. First, you know, get the multiple offers. When you go to present it, that's when the owner finance part comes up. When you present multiple offers.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, let me drive that home a little bit because this would be really valuable for you guys. Because, you know, the process is generate leads and then handle those calls, right? So handling the calls is my script is basically, you know, I use the WOW formula. When are you looking to sell? So a seller calls me up, I got your postcard, what is this all about, right? I would say, thanks, my name is Richard, what's yours, you know, and then, all right, Susie, they want to know what's this about. So it's like, do you have are you thinking about selling your house? Do you have a house for sale, right? So that's the first pre-screening question. Do you have a house for sale? Because if they don't have a house for sale, that's not I want to talk to people with a house for sale, but they might say, well, maybe I was, you got me thinking. That would be kind of the worst case scenario. You got me thinking. I wasn't thinking about it, but your card says you can pay top dollar and close quickly and buy it as is or whatever. And I'll say, yeah, when would you be looking at selling? If do you know where you would move to? So I want to know what their plans are. When I ask them, do they have a house for sale? That's pre-screening. Then I ask them, what have you done to find a buyer? What have you done to sell the house? Okay, so that opens up a lot of feedback on, was it for sale by owner? Was it listed with an agent? Is it expired? Has it been vacant for 2 months? Did the tenants just move out? The tenants were just evicted. I mean, they'll sometimes give you the story that you're looking for. So what have you done to find a buyer? And let's say they say, I'm just getting started. Okay, and I would say, then I want to know how quickly they would want to close. So it's like, well, if I could give you an acceptable offer, when would be an ideal time to close? And again, I'm asking questions, and they'll say, well, I'd like to close right away, or next month would be great, or they tell you, I'm thinking about doing it next year. What do I do if they want to sell it next year? I'm actually going to treat it like a quality lead, because more than half of the deals that you do, more than half, will be on this follow-up. So I'm going to start building that relationship now, and they might decide, before a year's up that they want to sell. I won't spend, if they're not ready to take a look at an offer. Why make an offer unless they're in a position to accept it, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to make an offer until they're ready to sell. Okay. But I'll go ahead and be of service to them until then and build that relationship. And again, find out what they're trying to accomplish. Why do they want to sell? So that's what I want to know, is why is someone selling the house? But I never ask them that. It's like, tell you if you ask the right questions. So 1W is, what have you done to sell the house? Another W is, when would you like to close, ideally, right? And that helps uncover motivation and stuff, right? And now I want to know if it's really, if it has equity, because we don't sort for motivation. They were motivated enough to call off your marketing. They have motivation. They have a reason. And other investors try and get them to spill their guts on a first call with someone they don't know. That's a mistake. They're looking for the people that are so desperate they will spill their guts on the first call. Okay, so you're over pre-screening. Okay, so what you want to do, my screening is, do they have equity? Okay, and the definition of equity is, would you buy the house for what they owe or more? Okay, so if they owe 70 cents on the dollar, would you buy that house for what they owe? Yeah, I would. They got 30% equity, so to speak. And if I can fund it right, that would make sense, right? What if they have zero equity, right? If they have zero equity, it's like, how are you going to make any money? Okay, you could try and flip it for a premium and make a few $1,000, but there's better uses of your time. It could have a very nice positive cash flow. So you buy it for full price, but it's funded in such a way where you have a nice positive cash flow. That would be a reason to buy it. So there's two reasons to buy a property. Number one, with the ultimate strategy, we can pull cash out of the deal, $10, $20, $30,000 out of the deal the day we close on it. That would be, and then it breaks even. That would still be good, right? As long as it holds its own. Or you don't get much money out of the deal. You don't have any money into the deal, but you have this positive cash flow, a nice positive cash flow for many, many, many years. That would be another reason. Okay. And then the third reason is you get both. Like, I think, I'm not sure, I remember if Valerie's had, yeah, I think we gave most of the cash flow to the seller because she was pulling out 30 grand. So if you get cash now up front and cash flow, that would be a reason. Okay. Now, typically, unless there's a lot of, you're taking all the cash flow, you're going to get some cash later. If you pull out all the money out of the deal from the cash up front and the cash flow over time, and then down the road, when you sell it, it's just enough to pay off what you owe the seller and private lender if it's still on there, right? It's just, it's kind of a break even. So, but you've taken out $150,000 out of the deal over time. Okay. The thing you don't want to do is buy a house just for the cash later, just for the back end. You really need to pull some money out so you can write yourself a 5-figure paycheck. You can fund your real estate business. You need money, you need income. Okay. So do that by buying houses. Or you get that cash flow. So you're going to get the cash now, the cash flow. If the only way you're going to make your money is down the road when you sell it, then there's better deals out there. Okay. There's better deals to be involved in. And if anything goes wrong along the way on it, that's kind of a tight deal. Now, I have some advanced students that they would buy that because they'll buy deals. They know the cash flow will be at least break even, so it will hold its own. They don't have any money into the deal. Maybe even they put a couple $1,000s into the deal, but they got this huge back end down the road. They call that their retirement plan. Okay. That's okay, but that's an advanced strategy. You're going to be building that anyways when you get these normal deals where there's either cash flow, cash now, or both. Okay. So when talking with the seller, the next question, so I gave you 2 W's, the next is a O, and then the last is a W, and it's the WOW formula. Okay. So the next question I want to ask is the house free and clear, or do you have a mortgage? I mean, that's a good question for every investor, no matter what your investing model is. That's a great question, as opposed to how much you owe on the house, right? Because that's part of a lot of investors' scripts. How much do you owe on a house? What would it take to pay off your mortgage? Do you have a mortgage, right? So, but a very soft way to say that is, your house free and clear, or do you have a mortgage? And they say, well, I have a mortgage. And then I would ask, well, what would it take, to clear that off the property? How much, approximately, what do you think would be the payoff on that? Okay. So I want to find out if they owe, what they owe on the property. And now the next question is, what is it worth? Okay. So this is some NLP. When you tell a seller on the phone, if I sent an appraiser out there tomorrow and had the house appraised, what do you think it might come in at? So I don't even ask them what they're asking unless they, if they told me it was listed or if it was for sale by owner, I'm going to ask them what they were asking. But at this point, I want to know what they think it's worth. And that's more important, okay, is what they think it's worth. And then contrast that to what they want. That might give you some motivation, but it doesn't matter. No matter what a seller wants, as you guys know, if you're using the Ultimate Profit Generator software, if you understand the ultimate strategy, we can pay a seller any price they want. We can pay a seller any price they want. So why are we negotiating price? We don't negotiate price. Okay, we negotiate terms. That's the difference. That's the big advantage. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and all right, so I want to know what it's worth. So I've created this mind picture that I'm actually going to send someone out to their house tomorrow. That wakes them up. It's like becomes real for them. And they might say, look, no, it's tenant occupied. Don't send anybody out there. And I said, no, I'm not going to without your permission. What I'm saying is, I just want to find out what you think it would appraise for. Okay. And then sometimes they say they don't know. And then sometimes they'll give you a number, and this just goes on my property information sheet. They say they don't know. I ask some questions. It's like, okay, are you familiar with any homes that are similar to yours that are sold in the neighborhood? Okay. And if you were to guess, what would you think? Now, they don't want to give you numbers. They don't want to give you information because they think you're going to use that against them. Okay. They think this is a negotiation process. All right. It really isn't. If they've gotten calls from other investors, a lot of investors are out there trying to negotiate a discount. They're trying to set people up to take less. All right. And in fact, some of them actually are not using very good integrity. They're like, they're giving the seller the thought that maybe they're going to offer them more, and then they plan to offer less and to beat them up on price. It's part of their strategy. I don't think that's a good strategy. I think you should be more upfront, honest, truthful, be of service. So the difference, I've learned this over the past couple decades, guys. This is so huge. Don't focus in on making money for yourself. Focus in on helping these buyers and sellers. But don't do it for free unless that's your charity plan. If you want to contribute and do charity, call that, but don't call real estate business or real estate investing. Okay. And I fall in this trap. People, they need some help, and it's like, there's no way I can help them make any money. Right. So I really can't help them, except I'll give them whatever advice I can. I refer them to an agent. I'll refer them to, an attorney, whatever I need to do to help them if I can't help them. Okay. So I'm always looking to how can I serve this person? It's, again, night and day. If you're an investor and you're calling sellers and you're just looking for people that are desperate, you're looking for people that are going to give up all their negotiating power on the first call or second call, who does that benefit? If you beat up a seller on price, like, you can make money buying it at 70 cents on the dollar, but let's get them down to 65. Let's make some more money. Who's benefiting? The seller's not benefiting. You are. Okay. That's servicing yourself versus servicing others. Okay. So if you take the opposite approach, is what we do. It's called profit first. If we're going to buy a house and we're going to go through all the trouble of finding it, closing on it, holding it, and then, building a portfolio and managing it, okay, taking the risks on as an investor, then we need to make a certain amount of money on a normal deal. And so a normal deal would be buy it and hold it for 10 or 15 years, okay, and make $100,000 to $200,000 on it over the next 10 or 15 years, okay? That would be a normal deal, okay, just a bread and butter house. All right. So we decide, okay, I want to make at least, if I'm going to own it for 15 years, I want to make at least 9,000 a year or 10,000 a year. So 10,000 a year times 15, that's 150,000. Okay. Now, if you have other reasons for buying it and you don't have to make all that profit, then you can reduce your profit target. But the way we do the deal structuring, Wayne, is we decide first what is our profit at a minimum, which is usually 50,000, or profit per year, which is usually 9,000 a year. Okay, so we lock in our profit. They put in all of the numbers for the income and expenses. Okay, and then we calculate what's the repaired value and the repairs, and then the biggest thing of all is what is the income the property can produce. I love going after landlords, especially post-COVID, especially right now. There's a lot of landlords that are throwing up their hands. They want to get out of the business. You can help them. You can actually give them more money than they're netting now managing their property. So retiring landlords has always been a great market to go after. However you can target those. Okay. And so we need to know what the income the property can produce. So while we're talking to the seller, go ahead and ask them, and we want to know this. Are you living there in the property, or is it rented or vacant? Ask them. So you want to know what's status of the property. And if they're living there, it's like, have you ever rented it, or do you have any idea what the market rent would be if I bought it, and rented it out, what what kind of rents I could get, right? And again, that's some NLP. When I buy it from you, what kind of rents can I expect? Do you have any idea? Okay, it gives them that mind picture of me buying the house. And it's kind of explaining to them what you're going to do with the property. And they want to know what you're going to do with the property. Again, the more information you can tell a seller, the more real it becomes, and the more they'll like you. If you're defensive and if you're evasive, and you're hard to reach, and you're brash, all that, you're not going to be able to get, the seller to like and trust you. If they like and trust you, then they'll be more flexible on price or terms. And that we always need that. They need to either be flexible on price or terms. Okay. So yes, there has to be motivation, and we're going to find out what it is, but we don't have to find out on the very first call. Okay. That's our goal, is to find out their non-monetary reason, their emotional hot button. What is this, selling this house? What are they going to avoid, or what are they going to gain? We want to really uncover that. And the way you uncover that is build a little relationship, build some rapport, genuinely care about them, and then see how you can buy the house so it works for you and also helps them doing what they need to do. So on Valerie's deal, she is going to buy another house. All right. So one challenge is she might need this cash to get into the other house. Okay. And it's like, okay, well, can we give her enough money to put down, which we're offering $100,000. She wants to buy a $500,000 property, give her $100,000. That's 20% down. So we're giving her, we got to find out from the seller, hey, can you borrow, if I can pay you top dollar for your property and you don't have a mortgage payment on your new house, could you qualify with the money I give you to put down, and then the income I give you each month to offset any mortgage payment on the new house? So essentially you don't have a mortgage payment, because that's what people want to do, is they want to take their equity, sell the house, and buy another house and not have a mortgage payment. If that's their goal, you can still buy it with terms, as long as you can maybe like wipe out, make it a wash. Okay. So she wants to buy another house. She's moving out into a new property. If that's the case with the seller, if seller tells me that, it's like, have you gone shopping yet? Have you found your next place? Again, we want to find out what their goal is. What are they trying to do? So we can either help them or also take that into account. So this lady has not even gone shopping yet. And you know what we tell her? It says, well, guess what? You said, you wanted to wait until you found a buyer. Well, you found a buyer, go shopping. Okay. So we tell them, go shopping, because we need to know when they want to close. And she doesn't know when it wants to close because it's contingent on getting into the next property. Okay. Let's see. So what do you owe? What do you owe? Free and clear, have a mortgage. So if they have a mortgage, okay, then we figure out, again, do they have any equity? Would you buy the house for what they owe or more? So if it had good terms, but very little equity, you might still buy it. Okay. If it's over leveraged, and the loans are current, there's no way to like discount a defaulted note or create equity that way, then that might become a non-deal. This is another reason. There's two things you do. Number one is you should become a transaction engineer. You should have more than one pony, in the race. You should have multiple ways to get in and out of deals. We call those investing models. Okay. And all of my best investing models is in the 5x5 real estate profit system. You got the subject to, and you got the lease options, you got the flipping, you got the wholesaling, you got all that in that system that is designed to be into a transaction engineer. Make money on non-deals. So it like goes beyond the ultimate strategy, right? It's like, if it's a non-deal, meaning you really can't buy it or don't want to buy it, how can you make money on that? Okay. So if there are other, that's another good reason why you want to network with other investors, call other investors. Again, same way you be concerned about the seller. Be generally interested and concerned about other investors to find out how you can help them. Build that relationship, and you'll find people that are actually doing deals that are really not deals, but they're finding them and they're getting involved in them. And you have one you don't want to get involved in because to you it's not a deal, but to them it's a deal. Let them have it and get a referral fee or split the profit or something like that. Now, then a lot of other investors, they don't know what to do with these free and clear properties, or they don't know what to do if there's high equity with a loan attached and stuff like that. So find out what's non-deals for them. Let them know what you're looking for. Also, let real estate agents know what you're looking for. I told Val that I don't sell houses on the MLS. I don't have to. I buy with terms, I sell with terms. Okay, it's easy to sell with terms. It's not hard. It's easy. It's the easiest way to sell property. The biggest reason why people have trouble selling a property is because they bought it wrong. That's the number one reason. Okay, so that's why it's so important to do with the deal structuring is to buy it right. What is a deal? And then run all the numbers to make sure that it is a deal. Okay. In fact, Dutch, we worked on that deal yesterday on your UPG, right? And where are you, Dutch? Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. And you said, okay, I want to give them this much money down. I want to borrow this much private money, and I want to give them this much money a month. And I'm saying, Dutch, you're doing it backwards. We got to put the numbers in the UPG, and the UPG will tell us what we can pay the most down and the most monthly. And so we put your numbers in there, and we had to work on a negative cash flow of $500 a month. We had to figure out how we were going to fix that, because what you wanted to do was not a deal. You were trying to please the seller, right? With the 500,000 down, right? And the 1,000 a month.
I'm your donkey. Yes.
I just want to use that as an example.
You're right. You're exactly right, because I wanted the house. I was more interested in moving into the house for my own personal reasons than I was making it an investment, a deal that would stand on its own, that I could hand off to my daughter or that I could sell to somebody else. And also the UPG kicked my butt, because I tried to do it first, but the UPG Saturday just melted my brain. So I did it on paper. And so this morning I called him and said, I can't do it. I said, I called him this morning. I said, I can't do this. This is wrong. You jacked me from 425 to 500,000 down. That's all I could pay if I paid you cash for it. And my coach told me I can't do it.
Yeah. Okay. So his cash price was 500,000, and we were trying to buy it with 100,000 down and give him some more money. It wasn't working. Because we were borrowing so much money on a first mortgage, it wouldn't cash flow. And it's also an $850,000 property that only has $3,700 a month cash flow. So it doesn't generate a lot of cash for this beachfront property, right? Because it's high dollar, but it's got low income. It's not a cash cow. Okay, it's the opposite. Right. And the UPG, saved us, right? But I also gave you 4 offers that would work. One with no money to them, one with 300, one with 900, one with 1,200, but with less money down. So I understand you had a bunch of objections you were handling with him, and we were trying to appease him.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him go through his estate sale and have people come in and make offers to him to let the marketplace beat up on him, so that I can come back and say, see, there's nobody that's going to give you $600,000, $700,000 cash. Here's what I can do. So I said, you need to go through this and get your estate sale out this week. If you get a better deal, if you get $650,000 cash, take it, man, because I'm not your huckleberry.
Well, and you know what? And that a lot of people get bogged down into that, where there's like other people that are willing to do the deal, right?
Yep.
And so they're thinking they should do the deal, but guess what? There's a lot of investors out there buying non-deals. Okay, and they're going to get in trouble unless they get lucky. Okay. So
I
go ahead and share. Is it okay if I is it okay if I share?
Yes,
What's
you can
that,
share.
Dutch?
I'm okay. I told him I cannot put my family in jeopardy because I'm coming out of a situation where I'm not a proven real estate agent or a proven real estate dealer now because I've been in retirement, and I need to have 3 or 4 months of deals under my belt if I want to take on a $500 a month negative cash flow so I can live in a really nice piece of property on the water. If I want to do that, I have to prove that I've got the income coming in. So I can't put my family, and I don't want to put the deal in jeopardy. It just doesn't make sense. And you, with this right here, helped me see the reality of that because I was excited. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're right, and also, I when you get emotionally attached to a property like I have in the past, properties that I want to move into and stuff like that, you pay more, you make more concessions than you would normally make on a deal that you're not going to move into. Okay. So on Dutch's deal, we have a 12-year term, which is what they discussed. When we first worked on this, I think we offered him like 430,000 down or something like that because that's what we could do. Let's see, what is the max? 490. Well, being Dutch, we increased his profit and reduced the amount of cash he was pulling out. Different things we could do because he wanted to have a first mortgage of 175. Okay. So we kind of we adjusted the deal. I think we instead of pulling out 65,000 for repairs, we decided we could probably do it for 50, that type of thing. So but we also, when we were making those adjustments, we had a negative cash flow here of like 500, but we got it down to negative cash flow of 311. Okay, this is on a rent exit. This is just buy, hold, and rent. Okay, now that's what happens when he gives him the 500,000 down that he was after, because he offered like 430 and he said, well, since I'm going to be in second position, I really want 500. Okay. So we went and run the numbers for 500. If Dutch was willing to have the negative cash flow, that's okay, because what we did is we upped his profit to 180,000. Okay. So we upped his profit. Let's see, but and then the price he was discussing buying it for 775. Okay, we think that the property is worth 750. It's 850 fixed up, but 750 as is. So we can actually pay more than the as is value with 500,000 down, but he would get no payments. Okay, because it's actually we just said he says he wanted he was thinking he was going to get $1,000 a month, right? And I told Dutch, just tell him you'll be happy to give him a monthly payment when you get it, but right now you have a negative cash flow, and so there's nothing to give you. So and it's because I'm giving you the 500 that you wanted. So I'll give you 500 now, and then at the end of 12 years, you got 281. And I would say something like this, Dutch, is like, I don't know if you're going to have any capital gains on selling this property, but typically you only have to pay the capital gains on the money when you receive it. So if you do have any capital gains, the gains on this money out in the future is deferred. It should be deferred. Okay. Now, but then I went ahead and ran the numbers. What would work to get him some money? And so if we only give him 371,000 down, we can give him 330 a month and a higher price. If we only give him 248 down, and this is all coming from private money first, then we give him his 950 or 1,000. You know, we can change that number to make that 1,000 if we wanted to. And if if we only gave him 173, we can give him 1,330 a month. The reason why I laid this out, Dutch, like that, and I sent you the two versions, right?
Yeah.
Is we never know which offer they're going to take, because he's insisting on 500. The more you build that relationship with him, or the more he, you know, after he works on his other plans or does his estate sale and, you know, gets beat up by the market or realizes he's being unrealistic and stuff, right? Then if he likes you and he knows you're real and he knows you're a professional, stick to your guns, and you're helpful, then he might say, you know what, I'd rather get, I don't have to have, he doesn't have to have the 500. He just wanted it to feel good. If he feels good, he might.
Security.
Huh?
He wanted
Security. Right. But the more he understands that you're going to take care of him, then he might settle for less security. Okay. So I would imagine if he understood why you can pay 980,000 and 1,300 a month, he might do that with 173,000 down. And let's take a look at the profit on that one. Yeah, when we give payments to the seller, there's some bonus profits. So when there's no monthly payments to the seller, the profit is 180. But on offer number 4, where we give them the most money, it's your profit is 218 on a 12-year plan.
And that's not a negative cash flow, is it? Or,
no, offer number 2 is a break even. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, offer number 2 is we're giving the cash flow to the seller. Offer number 3, yeah, all of these other ones it's a break even.
okay.
So yeah, it's a break even for you. So the offer number 1, the 500, is the one I wouldn't even make. But but if you decided you were willing to do that and take it on, it's okay. You just have to feed the property.
I can get the 311 from one of my other rentals to pay for that if I wanted to really.
Yeah. And there's probably things we can do. There's a lot of safety built into our deal structuring. So what we didn't do, Dutch, is we didn't look at selling it as is. Or selling it on a wrap. Because, okay, we have $4,000 a month in income, but if you sold it on a wrap, you would get $5,000 a month. So that was, we talked about, that's one way to, increase the income is to sell it as opposed to hold it, right? Sell it on a wrap. But this is a rent exit. So this is a buy and hold exit. It's 3 units. All right. I'll be happy to take any questions on what I just kind of discussed or generated. Dutch, do you have any questions on this?
No, I don't. And like I said, I called him this morning. After we went through this, I had to go sit in the lounge chair and rest my brain. I'm telling you, it's because it was a lot to wrap my head around. And so I called him this morning. I'm going to print this out and take it to him this afternoon and say, here, chew on this while you go through your marketplace beat up. So if you get a better deal, go ahead, but we can talk about this And I think he'll be real interested to talk to me again and not take a deal.
I think you might have, yeah, I think I would normally present these offers, you know, and explain them, but I think I'm okay with
He's a
that
smart
plan.
guy.
Yeah.
He's smart. He already
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
a smart,
investor. He's a contractor. He's been doing this for 30 years. He's got investment properties. He's also going to let me list a couple of his properties because he's moving back to Oregon. He's been gone for 3 years. And I
oh, how many properties does he have?
3. One's a lot, one's a business,
3.
and this one.
Oh, okay.
He
All
likes
right.
me. He
Well,
likes me because I've been honest with him. So I've
yes,
already established
yes,
a rapport with him.
okay, good.
So
All right.
Hey, Richard.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
Hey, good talking to you again.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, real quick, since you had the Excel sheet up, have you ever looked at creating a solver, or are you familiar with Excel solver at all? Where you can go in and put 2 or 3 different terms and let it do all the calculations in the background and come back and give you an answer versus you plugging in raw numbers and seeing what it tells you. That's a little higher.
I don't quite understand how that, huh?
It's a lot higher high-end Excel work, but that is a feature of Excel. Might be something worth playing with.
Okay, it would improve the software in what way?
Well, it would come back. You could put in 2 or 3 different variables and say, give me the maximum amount I could make, or give me the maximum amount the seller could make. There's just different ways you could set it up. Because it really is a mathematical problem you're dealing with.
Are you familiar with using the Ultimate Profit Generator, Dave?
Not too much, but I've used Solver before and some pretty complex stuff, and it seems like it might be an opportunity to build it in here.
I don't, but is it already, am I already doing what it does?
No, because you're plugging in the numbers, whereas you could take it because you're working from the inputs backwards. On the other way, if you do a solver, you can go in and say, what's my maximum profit profile look like? And it can come back and give you those answers.
There might be some utility in that, Dave, but that's the exact are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I told you we start with the profit first, and then we figure out what the property can afford. So our profit is, we decide that. We go right here, minimum profit per deal. So on this particular deal, it's usually 50 grand or so much a month, right? So because this was not a great deal, we actually changed, instead of 9,000 a year, a month, 9,000, a profit per year. So instead of 9,000 a year, which is typical, it used to be 6 or 7, but now because of what's going on with post COVID and all that, we want to make more money. So we're using 9, okay, and we can. But on this deal, because we had to make some concessions in our deal structuring, we upped our profit to 15 a year. And with the minimum profit, no matter what we did, was 171,000. Okay, and you saw that offer number 1 was 180,000.
Yeah.
And offer number 4 was like 200,000. So what we do is we lock in the profit, Dave. Then we put in the real numbers, the market rent, the value, the repairs, the taxes, the insurance. We use a vacancy rate, and then money that we spend, like on marketing or appraisals, get that money back. And then the extra money, then the money we need for, doing the repairs and pulling out extra cash and holding it until it's occupied, all the money needed for the deal, plus the down payment to the seller is on a private money first. Now, the max, we made it so the max is about 500,000. Okay. But it doesn't mean it's not going to have a negative cash flow. Okay. And we can't give less than 0 to the seller. Actually, we could make them pay us each month, but we usually do that. Normally what we would do is have the sell, if we had a negative cash flow, one way we could fix that is have the seller pay us to buy the house.
Sure.
You know, give us some cash. That would reduce the amount of cash we need to borrow. And that increases the cash flow. So I don't quite understand. If you can tell me, explain maybe later or
yeah,
now.
I'll see if I can work up
how
an example for you using Solver and see if it'll.
Yeah.
I'll play with it.
Okay.
Hey, the other question I had.
Yeah, I would need. Yeah.
The other question I had.
I would need to. But Dave, just let me finish this question.
Sure.
I would just need to know is using Solver, implementing that. How would that improve what the software already does? Okay. Now I do have a programmer that is putting this online. So whatever you have to share on that, it might be useful for him to know about it too, because he's actually he's rewriting. There's a lot of stuff. I wrote this in Excel, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes, and he's trying to simplify those calculations for his project. So that might be useful.
Yeah, because I used to build a lot of spreadsheets like this, and it was just a feature.
Oh.
Yeah, I know there's a lot behind it, so it's impressive.
Okay.
No worries about that.
Okay, good. All
The
right.
other thing
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the other question I had for you real quick is I'm starting to play around with listability a little bit. And I noticed one feature they have in there is email. So do you ever use email as opposed to postcards to reach out?
Only for follow-up. I would never cold email anybody. Okay. I'd never do it. I would never email anybody I didn't have a relationship with, that didn't ask for my information. So what you do, if you want to email people, you give them a reason to opt into a form and give you their email. So if you want to email people, build a campaign to entice and compel people to get on your list, to order a report or to get an offer or whatever, whatever you can offer them to get them on your list. Does anybody today actually buy lists and email them? I guess Listability is offering that. Well, list companies can give you those emails, but no, you're no. The only way I would use that email list that I bought would be to email them one by one, which I'll never do. So, I mean, if you are going to do that, there's a lot of pros and cons. Not a whole lot of pros. The one thing you could do is you could mail them a postcard and then email them and tell them, hey, I mailed you a postcard on your property at 123 Main Street. Did you get it? Right? That would not be seen as spam, right?
Okay. So
something like that might work. We're doing that with texting. Okay. I don't like cold texting people either, but it does work. And if you have the right approach, it doesn't piss off people as much. And so what we're doing is we're mailing a postcard and we're texting them and say, hey, I mailed you a postcard on 123 Main Street. Did you get it? Right. And so we use a language in the message from the text, which is all designed to get them to say yes or no, just get them to respond to make sure that we have the right text number and then take it on from there. That's multiple media, multiple hits. That's real. This is huge. Nobody teaches this. I don't, in fact, they teach the opposite. They say, don't use multiple media. Use one thing, get it working, stick with that, and then just continue to do that and then add something later. Well, there's a lot of simple, effective, low cost, and free ways to use multiple media with your campaigns, and having all that work together really makes a big difference. And having people see your message 5 or more times makes a huge difference. So someone can see your message. Most of the, you know, unless it's a very targeted list where we hit them more often, most of the lists that are kind of general, like absentee owners, you know, with free and clear houses, we would only mail to that list because we don't know if they have a house for sale once a quarter. So it'd take a year and a quarter to hit them 5 times. Okay. But if you mail them and then you hit them with a free ad on informed delivery, and you hit them with a Facebook retargeting, and then you hit them with the text and a ringless voicemail, and then another postcard, right? Then within a month, you can hit them 5 times as opposed to, you know, over a year. So that, you know, Post-it notes, flyers, ads. And the way you can afford to do that is be a big fish in a small pond. Find these parts of town that you want to buy in, and just hit them over and over and over in low cost effective ways.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Dave?
What would be the minimum size town or something you'd go into, or area you would kind of blitzkrieg on?
Well, it depends on your goals. There has to be activity, right? People moving, right, in and out of properties. There's got to be some activities. So you could go into a very solid, stable area where there's not, you know, it's very established and there's not much people moving in and out. You know, there's not going to be a lot of potential deals there. So it's nice to have more activity, and it's nice to avoid the hot areas where there's a bunch of activity on one side or the other. You know, if there's a lot of sellers, that's okay, because you help sellers, and it's a buyer's market, so you get to make the rules. But when it's a seller's market, it's kind of hot, and there's less inventory. It's like my internet is unstable. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me? My internet went out a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Is your-
Okay.
can you see-
So as far as picking a town, Dave, I think the smallest town, if you want to like target it, if you're picking it to make money, because you're going to use that as a farm area, you know, 40, 50,000 would be on the small side. You know, there's got to be again some activity. Let's see, I was in Colorado. You know, I did a lot of business in a county of 18,000 homes. So I think 20,000 farm area is pretty good, but you're going to need more than one farm area if it's only 20,000. Okay,
Gotcha.
you'll need another farm area. So, but these small towns, I think about, you know, who knows, right? But where in the future will people be moving to? What type of properties will people want? What type of properties will people want to own or live in? Okay, I'll tell you number one. Well, let me hear from you guys. What type of properties, what type of criteria are people in the future going to want in a home, as far as the type of home, location, price range, all that type of thing? What do you think the trend is going forward? What is the trend right now? Who wants to make a guess?
Well, they're getting out of big cities. Because a lot.
They're getting out of big cities.
Moving to the rural areas.
They're moving to the rural areas. What else? They're downsizing.
That's
Baby boomers drove real estate appreciation for as long as we know, and they're downsizing. Who else is downsizing besides baby boomers? Baby boomers are becoming more conservative.
Well,
Right.
millennials are not buying bigger homes. They're staying smaller.
The millennials like affordable, right?
Yeah.
And the baby boomers are looking at more conservative, more affordable, make their dollars last, right? So more affordable. So these McMansions, these high-end properties, there's going to be a gap. There's a gap right now with the rich and and then you got the middle class, and then you got the lower end or whatever. The middle class is getting destroyed, okay? And they're not being pushed to the top typically. They're being pushed to the bottom. So people's incomes have been reduced. People have lost businesses, including my family business, foot jewelry business in Laguna Beach, got destroyed, shut down because of COVID. Never will open. 30-year business. There's a lot of businesses that will never open. There's a lot of businesses that are losing their profits. They're losing their shirt. Other businesses are booming because they were able to pivot, or they were in a position to take advantage of what's going on with this virtual world we live in, so to speak. So the trend is further and further away from the metro areas, more affordable, more rural. What else, guys? What do you think people want in the future in a home?
Got to have good connectivity.
You got to have good connectivity for sure.
A little place to grow some vegetables, self-sufficiency.
And maybe grow some pot.
Well, yeah, some pot.
I can't believe
whatever.
I can't believe pot is now legalized.
or tomatoes and lettuce and cucumbers, so they can.
Well, you're right. I would love to. I have a garden, but I don't work it. I'd love to work a garden. I just haven't done it yet.
I'm trying
to eat fresh.
I'm trying to be
Yeah.
self-sufficient. I just can't find the bacon seeds.
I was dealing with. There was some communities, subdivisions, cities that would have not allowed people to plant their own food on their own property in the neighborhood. I mean, it was, geez. So government, I don't know I can't even wrap my head around what's going on with the government. So don't rely. Here's the Roop. My Roop philosophy is, don't rely on the government for anything. Not these stimulus checks, not your renters getting stimulus checks, not these subsidies for business and stuff and emergency money. Grab it if you want, but don't rely on the government for anything. Don't rely on the government to do anything, okay? If you can. And if once you rely on the government for anything, you're giving up your control. You're also falling into a trap sometimes. Don't rely on real estate agents for your business to be successful, okay? Use them, but don't rely on them. Don't rely on mortgage brokers, okay, to fund your deals or to fund your buyers. If you're using your credit, don't rely on your credit. Don't rely on bank funding. You can do it. It's an option, but I like things that you can do unlimited. There should be unlimited. I got a great email. I'm going to share this. Let me go to. Okay, Facebook. Okay. Hey, we're live on Facebook. All right. Right here. I just got this email from Shen Lu. She said she was at the Roop alumni reunion. By the way, guys, if you go to roopodia.com/free, you can still access that reunion we did, the recording. It was awesome. Willie Hooks did a great presentation on using your superpowers. I highly recommend that. But we reconnected because of the reunion, and she says, I am your former student back in 2006 time. Since then, I have applied marketing to real estate and bought many houses during financial crisis when others are scared. Today, I'm semi-retired with 54 single-family homes. Attending your live seminars and joining coaching programs earlier on made a huge impact on me being a successful real estate investor. One of the most important things I learned from your seminars is the belief system, which is what she's talking about, is the inner game. Okay. Now this is what motivates me, right? And I just listened to a podcast with Joe McCall and Dan Duran, and it was from 2019. And last year I was on Joe McCall's thing twice. One on what my deal with my losing my portfolio of properties, and the other was on marketing. And during Dan's interview, he was saying, okay, so what were we talking about here? Oh, what was he saying? I'm going to pause the recording here. He was saying something really important. What were we talking about, Dutch?
We were talking about Dan and the getting the inner game. If she had got the inner game going earlier, she would have been able to probably retire with a lot more than 54 houses, I believe.
Just staying positive.
Oh, by the way, look what came in the mail today.
Oh, you got Willie's book, The Inner Game of Raising Private Money. I highly recommend that to everybody. All right. I'm sorry. I was talking about someone, and then I thought about the Roop reunion.
You were talking about Dan Duran.
Richard, you were talking about where people were moving to.
Where people moving to. Okay.
And the importance of staying positive.
Okay. Well, yeah, there you go. Stay positive. All right. It'll come back to me. If you guys have any more questions, it'll come back to me, and I'll finish. I'll close that loop. Because I reconnected with Shen Lu. I got her fee. Oh, I remembered. Okay. I got a good brain. Dan, during that interview on Joe McCall, Dan told Joe, and he told me this as well afterwards, is he followed up with our old coaching clients like Shen Lu. 74% are like you would call financially free or financially good or super successful, right? 74% of our coaching clients. So that is, and I would attribute that to, number one, focusing on them and their success and what each individual person needs to get to the next level. It's a combination of all the stuff I teach, which is the models, the investing strategies and models, what we call the outer game. But 80% of your success is the inner game. Okay, the mental mindset. Just like Shen Lu said, it was what was important. What the main thing was the belief system, which is overcoming all these things that all of us have, which we really can't handle on our own a lot of times. Okay, we need that outside support, someone to hold us accountable, someone to guide us to change our behaviors. So in our coaching, we provide inner game tech, which is how to change your behaviors, your thinking to support your success and your goals, plus the inner game strategies for being more productive, managing your time better. This Thursday night for our coaching clients, we're doing a call on the critical action plan. Do you remember that, Dutch? Critical action plan? Use a critical action plan to gap from where you are now and where you want to go. There's this gap, and to cross that gap, we put together a critical action plan, a CAP. Did you ever use that, Dutch?
I did. And here's one of the key things that I have never forgotten and has been integral in my life was you, Dan, and Willie kicked my butt. I paid you $12,000 to kick my butt in coaching. And Dan Duran said, education without implementation is merely entertainment. Did you have a good time? What are you going to do when you get home? Write it down. What are you going to do? What are you going to take from here? Write it down. What are you going to do when you get home? Education without implementation is merely entertainment. Did you have a good time? Or are you going to put it to work? Right?
Yeah.
Instrumental.
Dan was really good at that coaching aspect of it. Not only is he great on sales training, teaching, negotiating, and handling objections and all of that. But he was really good at the intergame strategies and the intergame tech. Okay. So we have a whole coaching library. I'm going to go through our coaching library, and I'm going to identify some really great stuff with me and Willie and stuff on these some of these topics that really make a difference. So I'm going to see how to get that out to people that are not in coaching. By the way, I have decided on my next event. I haven't set the dates, but I know what it's going to be about, and it's amazing. It's incredible. And I'll talk about it later. It's really exciting. It's really exciting. So I'm going to try and do it as soon as possible. Are you guys in for a live event, a live in-person event? If so, when? But it'll probably have to be virtual. But how many people are in a position where they would travel to live events? I did that many times last year during everything. Who wants? You would do a live event, Scott? Let me go ahead and look at the gallery view here. Gallery view. Get rid of my. All right. Oh, I can't see. How many people would do a live event? Want to go to live seminars or have been? Okay, Rhonda. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can't replace it virtually like this. I mean, this is, or the last boot camp we did. All right. Where should we go?
Cancun. No, I've never been there. I don't know. I'm just talking.
It looks like I'm going. Well, I'm going to next month. Let's see. No, in April, Tim Mai is doing an event for coaches, and it's in Key West. So I might be in Key West in April. I like the idea of going down to Cancun. I actually did some research on this because I was working on the project I just told you about my event. Besides, on a side, not looking for a place to have it, but as part of working on that project, I was looking at all these different places. For example, if you did not live in the United States, I want to do a quick quiz since we've gone quite a long time. I can take some more questions, but where would you guys live if you didn't live in the United States? If you had to live somewhere else, where do you think would be a good place to live?
Belize.
Scotland.
Okay.
Scotland?
Belize
What do you say?
is a little small, but it's very warm. And I understand real estate is hot in Belize. I haven't done a lot of study on it, but
well, I considered Belize a number of years ago, and I did visit it on a cruise. I wasn't real impressed. It is very affordable. And by the way, William Tingle with subject2.com, okay?
Yes, sir.
He moved there, and he was there for quite a while. He got fed up with it, and he moved to Colorado. So he's in Colorado now, but you could ask him about Belize. It came up on my research this weekend, only like once. Some countries came up a lot. Belize came up. There's two areas. There's North Belize and there's Belize. So yeah, it is on a kind of a list. What other places you guys think would be a place to live maybe half the year? or own property. Costa Rica,
Costa Rica, that's what I was gonna say. Panama.
Panama came up on the list. And I learned about this last year when I went to an event in Tampa with Coach Pat Martin. He spent 3 years in Ecuador, and then he had to come back last June because of COVID. They forced him to come back, but Ecuador was a very socialist country. But they have like the two cities that he kind of was part of. One was in the mountains and one was on the ocean. I mean, just sounded beautiful. We sat down and had a few beers, and he told me all about it. I want to go check out Ecuador. I recently went to Puerto Rico, which was interesting. All right, so where should we do an event? Yeah.
How recently did you go to Puerto Rico? How is, since the hurricane, how much damage did they? I know they a lot of damage, but how's their recovery coming along? I guess is what I'm trying to ask as far as real estate is going.
Nah, I saw some damage. It was in November, end of November. Okay, right after Thanksgiving, I think, right before the Free and Clear Cash Accelerator event that I did. That was virtual, but yeah, I went. I don't know if you guys know Bob Diamond. He teaches overages, like tax liens and stuff like that. So I went to an event with him, went to his house and everything, and he told us the pros and cons gave us information, the pros and cons of living in Puerto Rico. And the big pro is if you make a lot of money, your income taxes are quite reduced as long as you're making money in Puerto Rico. We enjoyed it. We did a tour. We did a kayaking nighttime kayaking bay event, which was great, and we did a downtown tour. It was during COVID. They were really kind of picky on that. But I don't think the economy or anything is being hurt that much after I didn't see any problems with the hurricane, but there might be some continuing pains. So if we did an event in the United States, are we thinking what? Florida, somewhere place warm, like someplace fun?
Orlando's always good.
Where?
Orlando.
Where?
Orlando.
Okay, Orlando.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. What do you guys think about Las Vegas? New Orleans. New Orleans?
New Orleans would be nice.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess it depends on the time of year. We used to rotate. We do 3 boot camps a year. We would do one on the East Coast, the West Coast, and in the middle. So the East Coast, we did Seattle and California. We did San Francisco and like LA. Then we would do also Las Vegas and Arizona, Phoenix. Then on the East Coast, we would do Atlanta, Orlando, and I think I'd always go back to Orlando. I recently went to Tampa. I enjoyed that. There's that place on the East Coast. Then in the middle, we would do Dallas, Chicago, and Denver. So those were the big metro areas that, we had people wanted us to go to. If we're going to go do a trip, we should do something fun. I did an event in Costa Rica, and that was it's just a great memory. It's fun. But traveling overseas.
You do an event in Costa Rica, and my butt's going to be in jungles, and it's going to be everywhere but there.
What, Costa Rica?
I would be anywhere but the seminar in Costa Rica. I'd be out hiking. I'd be playing with the monkeys.
Oh, you know what?
I'd get so distracted. I'd never make it to the event.
No, you know what? We did it. It was a mastermind event, and we only did half a day. So I think we did 3 or 4 hours. Yeah. we had, and we stayed at an all-inclusive resort. In fact, my stepsister and her husband, Bobby and Bim Seegers, they have a subdivision in Costa Rica, but they had some trouble after the last financial meltdown. Their plans changed. They still have all these like building lots and stuff, and they just recently built a bungalow. I'd like to go there and check that out. I think they might be down there now. So they got some real estate. They got a real estate development down there. They had some challenges with it though because of the over the years. Mexico.
My sister-in-law, my husband's sister, her and her husband, when they retire, they're going to become expatriates, and their place is Costa Rica. And we've always told them we're going to come visit, but we're never going to leave. We'll be permanent guests.
Yeah, and there are some cities like in Mexico that are like expatriates and stuff. So yeah, so the question is, do you move overseas or do you own a place overseas? You spend some time there. One of these this event that I'm working on will help you identify some really good opportunities as far as owning multiple homes in different locations, being able to travel more, and live higher with a higher lifestyle with less money and that type of thing. And so it's everybody would love it. Everybody's going to love it. So all right. So that was fun figuring out where we might go. Thanks for your input, guys. And if you have any other input if you get this replay or whatever, maybe post it on social media, send me an email. I might put together a survey. Is there any other questions that you guys about how I can help you in your real estate business so I can help you make more money? More money. Money's not everything, but it's what I teach. Besides fulfillment, because again, you could be very happy and fulfilled without not a lot of money, which is fine. I want you to be happy, fulfilled, whatever it takes. I want you to be in touch with that. And if money's a lubricant, if money's will help you, then let's make some money. We know how to do it. Questions from you guys? Who has a question? We'll call it a night, a day. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys showing up. Damien, is there anything else we needed to cover? Is there anything in the chat I should look at or talk about? There was one question that I maybe did I cover that those two questions you gave me earlier?
I think so, yeah. Because we talked about some target areas for your marketing, where you might want to buy.
Oh yeah.
There's one question on Facebook, which I don't know if he came in after you covered it, but was asking about how do you fund the down payment, and I went ahead and just answered that. Down payment's typically coming from a private lender for this type of deal. Looks like Dutch might have a question.
No, you know what? You and Mark, you tend to answer these questions, but sometimes it's nice to give the answer to everybody. All right. So his question was, how do we fund these deals? There's several ways. Number one, you can fund the deal with your buyer's down payment. If you're buying with terms and selling with terms, you can fund it with your buyer's down payment. But the way we do our deal structuring, we're going to go ahead and do a private money first on these free and clear deals, the ultimate strategy. They're funded with a private money first, and the seller takes back a second. Now, sellers don't always want to be in second position. Most people don't care, okay? The ones that do care, we handle it. We have scripts for that. We give them reasons and all that. And one of the reasons for them to do it is, hey, we can buy the house. That's one of the big reasons they do it. The other thing is they can actually be in first position if they want to be our money partner. So that's kind of an advanced strategy that I think we talked about recently on one of these calls. But yeah, one of the ways to overcome that is actually have the seller, I'm telling you, buying better than no money down, the seller actually brings all the money you need and their own down payment. So if you're given if you need to bring in $50,000 first mortgage and you're giving 20,000 of that to the seller and they want to be in first position, if we can't overcome that objection, then we say, well, tell you what, we need to bring in a money partner so we can pay you this price and buy and hold and run our business. However, if you want that $50,000 first mortgage at 7%, 8%, then go ahead and come up with 30 and you'll get 8% on the 50. So that 20,000 they would have got down plus the 30 we need, the 50 we were going to raise, they can be the private money first, get 8% on that, and then they have the principal only payments on the second. So but yeah, most of these deals of private money or hard money, people that are in the business of loaning. So you can either follow my instructions on how. It's really easy to line up private money. If you just follow the best practices, it's easy to raise all the private money you need. It's more of that inner game that prevents people from, or maybe they don't have the instructions, but if you have the instructions, it's the inner game that's preventing you, or you don't have the deals. One way to raise private money is have a deal you're about to lose because you don't have private money. We say as a backup, have some money partners or some hard money lenders that can help you fund the deal before you lose it, because all of your deals should be contingent on funding, and inspection.
Dutch had a question too.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dutch.
Who had a question?
I did.
Are we done? Go ahead, Dutch.
I'll read it off the chat. I want to mail with iNet. What is the smallest number of postcards we can do? And can we do this on a weekly or bi-weekly basis so the phone is not overwhelmed?
Yeah. I would say you probably, they can set it up if they have that plan. And go. Have you talked to them yet, Dutch?
I have not. I want to talk to you first.
Yeah, they would be able to answer that. I think they charge based on the, they quote you. They don't have a set rate. They quote you based on the size of your list and that type of thing.
So if I send in a smaller
I think the more you make.
If I send in a smaller list, I might be charged a little bit more per postcard, but I can control it better. I'm open to that.
Yeah. Let me go. Let me show you what to do here. So on, let's see, iNet USA. All right. So if you go to iNet USA and you click on Contact Us, okay, I put this link. If you guys were at the boot camp, the $28,000 in 28 days boot camp, I put several links on your support site. I put listability.com/Roop, iNet USA. I put this zip code map, which is I like quite a bit. This is UnitedStatesZipCodes.org. They got a lot of real estate data, but I like these maps because you can put in your zip code and then you can look at the zip codes that are around it. Okay, that's one way to select zip codes. iNet USA, when you go there, if you go to Contact Us, you can fill out this form and send them a message, or just go ahead and give them a call. And Dutch, you would talk to Elisa Yandel. That's Tim Yandel's daughter. Tim Yandel's the CEO. I've been working with Tim for 15, 20 years. But we just got them set up to do the postcards. So the way to order them is to typically email Alyssa at iNet USA or give her a call, or you can go ahead and use this form.
Okay.
And they'll just they'll want to know your plan. The information that you're talking about right there. They'll want to know, okay, how big's your list? How often do you want to mail? And when do you want to mail?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they send out, do they have a specific designated day that you have to have your list in by in order for it to go out, or does it go out as you send your list in? Did that make sense?
You go ahead and, well, typically, if you're splitting up some mailings like Dutch is talking about, Dutch, I would say, once every 2 weeks. I don't think you have to split it up weekly. I think, biweekly drops, every 2 weeks is going to split it up if you're worried about, your ability to take the calls.
Okay.
You would go ahead and get the entire list if you can, if it's not going to be too dated by the time you use it, right?
No, it
And
won't.
go ahead and give it to them. Yeah,
Out of
it's
town, out of
it's
town
going to be
owners,
less work.
out of town
Yeah,
landlords.
it's going to be less work. It's going to be less work for them to have the entire list, because they're going to do a little bit of. They're going to look at your list and make sure that there's nothing that should be changed about it or whatever, improved. So they have that quality assurance. So if it's just one file, it's easier. But if you give them, a different file every week, then it's multiplying their efforts. So they'll charge more.
Okay.
But that doesn't answer my question. My question was, if I send it in on Monday, are they going out on Tuesday, or do they have like a specific day that they send all everybody out at once?
And
they're a full-scale commercial.
No.
They're a full-scale commercial printer. They mail tons and tons of stuff. They have a done-for-you service for probate that they mail. So they'll mail it when it's ready. So it takes them about, I think it takes them about 3 or 4 days to drop your mail. So you order it, you give them the list, you order it. They'll need to, I think you need to, that might be 3 days after they get your approval on the proof. So they'll send you a proof with your information. Once it's approved, if there's no changes, it's easier to drop them faster, I guess. But I think it takes a few days for them, like 3 days for it to drop.
May I make a suggestion? Ask them to salt your address in there, send an extra one out, so that when it goes out, you get the card the day that the other people get the card. So you'll know that it went out.
Yeah.
Salt your name in there.
Yeah. If you're providing, they're a list broker, but usually you're going to, go ahead and go to listability or provide them a list. If you're giving them a list, go ahead and put yourself on the list. Absolutely, Doug.
Yeah, that wasn't
and then you'll
my
get
concern.
The card.
My concern was, I've worked with one company and they do all their mail outs on like the 19th, and then you can send it in on the 1st. It still ain't going out to the 19th. They have one specific, that's my question. When do they do theirs? Do they have a specific date, or is it like you get it in and they get it out? Because I know one company, they got a couple dates during the month, but if you get it on the 1st and their mailing date is the 19th, they ain't sending it before the 19th. That's what my question is.
They're not doing that. I understand why others might do that, and it's because if I know a company that will mail postcards for like 32 cents, okay? But you have to jump through those type of hoops, because postage is 28.5 cents for pre-sorted first class mail or whatever. So what I wanted to say is, this is click to mail. Okay, so on click to mail, if you look at this, we mail 1,000 postcards, right? 1,000 postcards, double-sided, black and white, both sides, and white uncoded. Now it says next day. Okay, this is where you can do your own postcards on click to mail. Okay, now next day it's 4/32. All right. But notice that there's no warnings up here. Now, when I change this to, let's go ahead and mail it, give them 3 days to do it, right? 3 days, the price goes down a little bit, okay? Because it's easier for them to batch it up. But also, The problem with this is it says this product does not allow personalization or mail merge with your postcards. So if you're doing the Magic Bullet postcard, it is mail merged, it is personalized, and you don't necessarily want to have to do 1,000, okay, just to save $20 or something, okay. So on Click to Mail, you're going to do next day and pay a little. So they'll process the next day. If you weren't doing mail merge and stuff, if you gave them, a week, then it's even cheaper than the 3 days. So the reason why I wanted to show you that is that's why that mail house, if they batch everything together on this one day, they can make more money or pass on the savings to you. The iNet USA, they'll batch things, but they're not waiting to batch things. So yeah, they'll do it right away. Thanks for asking. And by the way, if you have any questions, give Alyssa a call or just contact them. Get on the phone with them and talk to them about and get all those questions answered as well. So they're very helpful. All right. Any other questions? Anything else before we wrap things up?
And you say
We're
you've
about
already
2 hours
uploaded
now.
your Magic Bullet postcard to iNet? They have yours?
It is in your support site. Yeah, they're
Okay.
all set up with my latest Magic Bullet postcard. Yep.
iNet is?
They're the only
So,
they're the only company that's currently set up. I'm getting other companies set up, but they're the only ones that are active. They're all set up. They have the most up-to-date copy, and they're mailing postcards right now. So
Okay.
that is the place to do it, as opposed to doing it yourself on Click to Mail or trying to get another company set up. I got 2 other companies getting set up, but it's we already have one, so there's no hurry on those. And they're good.
And I sent
Yes.
the offers over to Johnny at James Drive just a few minutes ago while we were talking. So he's got the offers, he can look at them and we'll talk. So this deal, I'm going to get this deal, Richard.
I think
get
you
this
will.
deal.
I think you just go with the flow. I think if you just go with the flow, you'll get that deal.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited about life. I'm excited about getting 3 deals before the end of the month and paying myself $10,000.
I guess we got to talk about getting you back in coaching.
I know. Get me 1 deal and we'll probably get back in coaching. The best time of my life was when I was in coaching with you and Willie and Dan.
Yeah.
That was the best real estate time in my life. It affected my game. That's the best time of my real estate career from 1999 when I met Ron LeGrand, and in 2002 when I met, 2003 when I met up with you. But that the Orlando boot camp that you had for 4 days down there in that big hotel that was almost like a shopping center. That's where Drew Hitt got his start. That was a great place. I mean, you stayed upstairs and had a shopping center and it had a couple of restaurants. That was a great place to have a retreat.
I forgot about that location because I remember I was at the Hyatt when we had the hurricane and stuff. And maybe was that after the hurricane canceled the boot camp and
I don't know. I can look,
but I do remember that convention center right there in a mall. It was like in a mall.
In a mall.
Yeah.
It had different restaurants, and we don't know the availability. It wasn't too far from Disneyland, but it was easy access from the airport, and it was a nice place to stay. They had lounge chairs out in front, and you go in, it was spread out. I mean, I think you had 350 people there. And I think that's when I said, Cheryl, I've got some money. What should I do? Should I buy these courses or should I get into coaching? And I can read her mind a little bit. It's like, you hard-headed, you know what? You need coaching. Spend the money on
Everybody
coaching.
needs coaching. Look, there's never going to be a shortage of education and tools and strategies I'm going to give you. What you need is implementation, which is coaching.
Education without implementation is merely entertainment.
No, and that's, you know, and that's, I'm very proud of our coaching program, because there's a lot of people that just, because I held out, people wanted coaching. Dan wanted to sell coaching, but I wasn't willing to do coaching. I do consulting.
Right.
So until we could actually deliver it, people wanted to buy it, but we had to make sure it was actual coaching. There's a lot of people today that people want coaching and they know they can sell coaching, and, you know, they're like new speakers and influencers and stuff. And so they sell coaching, but really it's group education. It's not coaching. It's not accountability. It's not performance. It's not what works. We have the best coaching process on the planet. And I think you told me when you first got started, you said this the other day. I don't know what you were doing before that, but you said first year with us, you made like 180,000. You put 180,000 in the bank, or what?
Yeah.
And then what was that?
I was driving truck, making $4,000 a month, and my daughter had just got married, and I called Dan. I said, Dan, I'm just driving this truck is killing me. I know you have door knocking stuff. I need to know what I'm in coaching. I spent my money in coaching. What can you do? And Dan sent me these 6 CDs, and they arrived the day that somebody stole my truck and set it on fire. And I had a new career knocking on doors. They arrived the day that the fire marshal knocked on my door and says, where were you last night? Your truck was stolen and set on fire. Did you do it for the insurance? I said, no, I was in Nag's Head. And my job changed. And I took those CDs and I listened to those CDs over and over and over again. And Dan said, because Dan is tight, he said, I never give these away, but God told me to send these to you. They arrived the Friday that my truck was set on fire. And I took those and I listened to them. And then I got my wife to drive me around, and I said, drive like a normal person, drive like a chauffeur, because I'm focusing on knocking on these doors of people that are going in foreclosure. And I bought a house. I knocked on it 3 times, and I bought the house for $207,000, put it in a land trust, borrowed $50,000 on it. 3 months later, I said, this house is going to sell before the end of the summer. 2.5 months later, it sold for $357,000. And I put $40,000 into it. In the same week, I knocked on a door and bought a house that was going to foreclosure. And I helped those people buy another house and got them into another house and took their house and fixed it up. And I made $40,000 on that one. So 70 and 40. And then there was a smaller deal that I did. Yes. And those waning months coming out of that boot camp and knocking on the doors, because there was equity in homes at that time before the crash, I made about $180,000 in 6 months. And
that was going from 4,000 a month as a trucker to 180 on 3 deals, 3 or 4 deals.
On 3 deals.
That's great.
And then later on, I went through these things, and Dan had coached me on either you've been sued or you're going to be sued, but whatever you do, if you're sued, just compartmentalize it over here. And because if you do a lot of real estate deals, he said compartment, or if you have a divorce or if you have trouble, compartmentalize it, work on it all you can to the point that you can get to, then stop working on it and go back to being a real estate entrepreneur, a transaction engineer, go back to looking for deals because those deals are out there. Don't focus on that. Focus on where you're going and what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, are you saying you got sidetracked because you had a lawsuit?
I've had one, but
Oh,
I got sidetracked before. I got sidetracked after because then my wife left me.
Right.
I don't
Well,
sidetrack you.
that's kind of, was it a divorce? Because a divorce is a
No,
lawsuit.
I've not been divorced. The
Oh.
truth is my wife's left me 5 times.
Okay. Okay.
She's back. 41 years. Okay.
That's great.
I had the vision to marry her, not her. So I have the advantage.
Well, yeah, and I think you probably took responsibility and took control of the outcome of that. So you didn't want it to be, you wanted to stay together or get back together, and I imagine you made that happen.
I worked on it.
Yep.
I worked on it.
Yep.
And we worked on things together. We're two totally different people. We're just so opposite. It's almost unbelievable.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dutch. Thank you very much. All right.
I wear it right here. This is me. I don't have any deceit.
I would say yes. I'm going to be talking about this more in detail at another time. But yeah, in fact, I met when I was in Puerto Rico, I met a great attorney who's a speaker who works with real estate investors, and he actually, before becoming an asset protection attorney, he was the attorney that would go after your assets. I mean, he was really good at it, right? But now he knows how to help you protect your stuff. And I think it's important, but not urgent. So people, they're not working on it. It's not on their radar, but I think it needs to be part of your business plans. Okay. And it should be worked on, and you should get this set up. Ask me how I know this. There are things you can do to protect all this wealth that you build, and it's just following a certain plan and practices. Okay. It's nothing new or crazy. It's using LLCs, it's using family limited partnerships, and land trusts. It's using the things we know about, but in the right way. And so I'm going to ask if Bob will maybe do a call with me or something that we can lay out some basic strategies that people should follow. For example, it's okay to get started. And actually buy property in your own name, but you shouldn't do it. I mean, I'd go ahead and close the deal in my own name, but can we mute? We need to mute.
Mute Rhonda's printer. We went to the
yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. So yeah, I don't think setting up your LLC or your corporation or your asset protection and all that is something that should prevent you from going out, talk with sellers, making offers, and doing deals. But it should be part of what you learn how to do and do on a regular basis. So I just want to make it easy for you guys. In fact, I think Bob will do all this stuff for you. He needs to kind of explain, who's for and why you should set it up. But he has a program where, he'll just set it up for you, consult with you, and all that. I'll talk to him. He had me. The reason why I know this, I met him in Puerto Rico, and then he hired me to work on his copy. He was doing a webinar, and I was improving his email invitations, and he hired me to do that. And so it's like the more I learned about him and what he did, it's like every real estate investor needs this. In fact, every entrepreneurs in general. If you're making money, you need asset protection because of the society we live in, and bad things happen to good people. The best thing to do is appear rich. Let's see. No, appear broke. Be rich and appear broke. There's a strategy. Yes. be rich and appear broke. You don't need to own anything. You just need to have access to things, right?
You need to get the beneficial interest.
And this is actually,
you
yeah,
need
yeah.
the beneficial
Well,
interest.
but you own the beneficial interest. If you own the beneficial interest, they can take your beneficial interest. So, but it's nothing to be afraid of. You should be concerned about it. It's just like having insurance or, on your house. If you have a nice house and you live in the forest and they have forest fires, you should have fire insurance, right? Just in case, right? Hopefully nothing ever happens, but you definitely need to have insurance or you're going to lose your everything in your house unless you've self-insured. Okay. Asset protection, when you're building a portfolio of real estate, when you're building a lot of wealth, asset protection is something you can start right now going online, just looking up some YouTube videos and some articles and stuff like that. Bill Bronchek's a good resource on that. Talking about Robert Bloom, B-L-U-M-B, Bloom, or no, B-L-U-H-M, Bloom, Robert Bloom. He's an attorney, asset protection. So he's the one I'm going to reach out to, give him a call, see about setting up a Zoom meeting or something. Or have him come to, where are we going? Cancun, Mexico? Have him come, I'm sure he'll come to Costa Rica or Cancun, or maybe I'll see him in Key West in April. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Any final words? If you're in coaching, we have a coaching call. Our monthly whole group intergame call is Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll send out an email tomorrow. We're going to work on the critical action plan, the benefits of that and how it fills the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's a tool that we've used in coaching for many, many years. It's super important, so that's why we're doing a call on it. And I'll look up the last call we did many years ago on it and maybe send that out to everybody as well. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate your input. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your time and attention. And we'll do another Q&A call next Tuesday for the folks that are in coaching or attended the bootcamp. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Richard.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Rhonda.